Keeping venomous reptiles is an unforgiving hobby, requiring proper training and lots of experience. One simple mistake can be the difference between life and death. Remember, the most venomous snake in the world is the one that just bit you. There are no venomous snakes with training wheels. Just because you see Viperkeeper handle snakes a certain way does not mean you should try it too.
Alright, time to feed the Cantils. You are very interested, huh? Oh yeah, oh, a bite and hold. Whoop. Alright, we're gonna let go because we saw you move. Cantils, of course, are related to the North American copperhead and water moccasin. However, the bites from these are far more toxic and with a greater likelihood of causing significant systemic illness in humans. Not only would you have local damage, but you would have a coagulopathy for certain. I've seen a person here in the U.S. who took a bite from one. He had bruising all the way up his arm to his shoulder, probably bleeding elsewhere, but got anti-venom because fortunately he was close by to Miami-Dade's anti-venom bank. So he was quickly cared for properly. But these are also two males that I don't have females for. That's one. And here's the other one right here near the door. So, since we're near the door, we're going to use a tool to open it because I don't want my fingers there, and who knows what the little beastie might decide to do. You're going to chase that, huh? Is that not quite hot enough for you? Huh? You can't decide on whether you want that or not, huh? As Lori says, well, if they're hungry enough, they'll eat it. Alright. It's just going to die of fright in front of you, and you can decide what you're going to do with it. Because I don't have time to stand here and cater to your indifference to what I'm offering you. If you eat it, you eat it. If you don't, oh well, there's always next week. You can see Miss Death Adder in her cave. Let's see if we can prance this by. Oh! Look at that, and a happy Death Adder it is. These guys have thinned out quite a bit since I cut back their feeding. Starting to see some back definition. Can't have fat snakes. So many keepers overfeed. It's not funny.
No, it can kill them.
Yeah, and you know I'm guilty also. You know, you come up here to the cage and they're looking at you like, oh, I really am dying of starvation and stuff. She's over here, so we'll see if she's interested. I'm sure she will be. You know, probably perfect examples of, you know, I over.
Whoa.
This is why you saw me use my hands for this in this cage, but with her being so close, I I used the tool to open the cage door. I've had already one very unfortunate encounter with a Death Adder. Many years ago, I was putting it into a tub and it jumped out and was over the top lip of the tub, and I didn't see that it jumped out of the tub partially, and I put the lid down on it, and it whipped around and bit me in the wrist. Fortunately, it was not envenomated, although it did cost me a night in ICU, but had anti-venom available. Oh, and a happy death adder. So, I don't want another encounter with a death adder. So there we go. 3 death adders are nice and happy. She doesn't look like she's lost as much weight as the other 2. They're all 2016 snakes, all born about the same time. This is from my friend Bob Henderson. That's his bloodline. Unfortunately, I don't have a male to breed her with, because I like to perpetuate Bob's bloodline since he's no longer around with us. He passed on several years ago, just actually a year or 2 after I got these. Well, Pink has left her mess behind, and her pointy end is up there, so it's relatively safe to go in there. But first we'll collect this monster here. Try not to stick ourselves with it because it still probably contains venom. Here's my pinky in comparison. And she does produce some monster fangs, so we don't want those in our body. So let me just set this over here on the chair for now and see if I can safely extricate this cow pie. Not that I'm calling her a cow, but certainly that's a cow pie.
Wow.
I've seen one.
Yeah. That is lots of poop.
Am I disturbing you, Pink? Well, that's what happens. You poop?
Poop happens.
Yep. Especially if you want to be fed, which you do a fair amount of the time. Well, every week actually, if I would allow it, but I feed her every at least 2 to 3 weeks. Let's check on the pointy end. Yep, it's still there. Alright, so that's okay. Since I have a bag of substrate, let's just add a bit. Not that she'll really appreciate it, but we'll cover up that material at the far end. It's already sort of pooped out over here. Let's forward a bit.
Oh, I hear her huffing and puffing.
Uh-huh. Redistribute some of the substrate. Loosen it up, pack it down. Oops, looks like I'm going to have to fix this. Oh no, it's just unscrewed. This was just a cheap spoon from the dollar store, and I got the stick, which can be extended from Home Depot. Makes a handy scooper tool. I just drilled out a hole to fit the handle, then put some epoxy, some special epoxy in there, and it's held up pretty good over time. The wood has sort of thinned out and deteriorated because it gets put into Clorox to clean it up. So that's pretty much for her cage maintenance for for the time being. We got the cow pie. She'll be once again somewhat happy. Usually gaboons and other ambush predators like that, once they produce a cow pie like that, they move off to a different area. So because the local animals can probably smell that and know that it's not a good idea to go anywhere near it, because there might be a very bad ending for them. So they, gaboons and other ambush predators will go ahead and relocate to another area nearby and wait for the next meal to come along, which will probably be later today. Her head's protruding a little bit more. I'll have to be careful when I feed her, because I don't want her slamming her head into the wall there. So I will carefully present whatever I'm going to give her. I haven't decided yet. So there you are. In its recurved form, it's a good 25 millimeters long, which is just over 1 inch. And I bet if you straightened it out, it would be probably 35 millimeters with that sort of recurve. But that's the sort of thing that goes right to the bone and maybe gets left behind.